Big Ed here. Today I'm bringing you a video on reloading 38 Special, and I'm going to show you folks all the steps I do from start to finish to make nice shooting 38 Special rounds. And we are going to use my once fired brass right here. I haven't loaded up 38 Special in probably a couple of years, so this is all just once fired. For projectiles, we are going to be using Hunter Supply rounds, and I loaded up, as you see from my video, some 44 Special with 200 grain of these Hunter Supply just cast bullets, and they're already pre-looped, and I was very happy with the performance of these. So we went ahead and we bought 250 projectiles, and these are 158 grain lead projectiles, and these are rated for 357 magnums also, and we're just using them 38 Special. The heavier bullets in 38 Special and 3057 tend to be a little more accurate, so that's what I was really concerned with, is getting some good accuracy from these 38 Special loads. And for powder, we will use Unique right here. I'm gonna probably stay away from Unique in the future just because it burns a little dirty, but I have probably half a pound of this left, and 38 Special is perfect for Unique, and this will be make very nice shooting rounds. So Unique's been around for a long time. It's a good powder. I see this right here. This is dated May 19th, 2009. So this pound of powder is almost 10 years old, but it works quite well. And for primers, we're either going to use the Remington or the CCI small pistol primers. It doesn't matter. They're both very good primers, and they always ignite. And that's basically about it. So we'll go ahead and we'll start setting up our press right here. So the first step here is to set up our press, and we will be resizing and depriming in one step. So we have our die set right here, and this is RCBS, and these are the carbide die. So they don't require lube, but as a lot of folks have commented in my past videos, I throw a little lube on them. A little extra lube can't hurt. You don't have to, but hey, a nickel with a lube, you can't hurt at all. And I guess this has been opened. There we go. Open it right up. So here are our dies, and the first thing we'll do is we're going to put in our shell holder, and that's our RCBS shell holder. There should be a number on it, but this is for 357 38 Special. And the cool thing about 38 Special reloading dies, they will also reload 357 mag. And mostly I reload 357 mag, but 38 Special is not cheap, and I happen to be running low on it, so we will go ahead and load up a good batch of 38 Specials. So this is my resizing and depriming die. Basically, the brass inserts in here, it squeezes that back down to factory size, and that little pin will deprime them. So to set this up, we'll go ahead, start that. We'll raise the ram all the way up. We're going to screw this down until it bottoms out. There we go, it's bottomed out. We'll put our lock ring on it, tighten it, just finger tight. And that's our setup right there. And we have this little nifty device, and this will catch our old primers so they don't end up all over my garage floor. And let's go ahead, we'll get a reloading tray started out here. So we'll put one in there. You can hear the little primer fall out. You can see that is deprimed and resized. There's number one. We'll do a few of these so you folks get the idea. And for the first few, every step of reloading, I always like to just inspect each case to make sure our process is going right and there's no debris or anything wrong, because you can screw up rounds, and reloading is something you want to take your time doing. That one. Some of them go easy, some of them go harder, but it all depends what I was shooting. Some of these I saw when I was cleaning them are plus P's. So those will be probably, a little more expanded, a little more resistance going into the press. Yeah, these are all coming fine. But I'm excited to load these, and hopefully I'm going to get some nice, good, accurate rounds here. So I'll go ahead, I think we'll do 100 rounds today, even though I have 250 projectiles. I don't feel like loading that many on my single stage press here. So we'll go ahead and we'll resize and deprime these, and then we'll go on to the next step. All right, so now we are going to set up our powder charge. And for our powder, we're gonna look right here. We are loading 158 grain lead projectiles, and we are using unique. So on the low end, it's calling for 4.1 grains of unique. On the high end, it's calling for 4.7. And I looked at this in my Hornady reloading book, and they're calling for 4.2 grains on the high end. And the plus P version of 158 grains and 38 special is calling for, I believe it was 6.2 or 6 grains even of unique. So we're going to go ahead, and we're not looking for anything monstrous here. We're going to go ahead and load these 815 feet per second. We're going to go ahead and give these 4.7 grains of unique, because we're going to shoot these out of my Smith & Wesson 686 with the 6-inch barrel, and I want to keep these at least 800 feet per second. I don't want them to really go lower than that. I'm a little scared that they could get stuck in the barrel. So we'll go ahead and we'll charge them with 4.7 grains of unique, and that's still that's a standard load, and still it'll be mild for a big revolver like that. We're not going to shoot these out of a little tiny small revolver. Books are very important. Use your books, folks. All right, so as I talked about earlier, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use unique powder, and so we'll go ahead and we will put some powder in our powder measure right there. And last time I was loading 44 special on here with, I think it was also with unique, and so our charge was definitely larger with 44 special. If I would, off the top of my head, it's probably around 7 grains if I could remember, maybe 6.5. So we'll go ahead and we'll take some off of there because I have a feeling that will be too much. And as you can see, we have my scale right here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to zero out actually you've already zeroed it out. So we're going to set the scale to 4.5 grains. So we're at a half, and there's 4 right there. And we will go ahead and we will drop a charge to see where we are here. And usually what I do is I'm going to drop a couple charges just to kind of get the powder flowing through here. Just to get out any sort of air and inconsistencies. And go ahead and drop a charge and see where we are with our weight. Actually, what did we say? 4.7 grains. We're going to load them up to the max in the book. So we'll increase that just a touch. Right now we are heavy. So we'll go ahead and we'll take some off of there. And this is important to do this correctly. Took some off, drop another charge. Yeah, we're getting close. Yep, that's actually, I'm getting pretty good at this. Guessing where my charges should be. So, and you can get a digital scale, but the balance beam scale works just fine, and someday I'll upgrade to a digital scale. Hopefully in the near future I will be doing a renovation on my house and adding a full basement, and I will be setting up a reloading room in my basement, which I'm really looking forward to. So we're still heavy there. We'll take it down another little bit. And this is important. You don't want to overcharge these or make a mistake. You don't want to make a mistake with any reloading. So we'll go ahead and make sure we're pretty well set up. Yeah, we're getting closer. All right, we're getting there. Yeah, we're right there. We're right on, as you can see. Hopefully you can see that well in the video. So that is our charge. What we're going to do, for redundancy, we're going to double check it. So we'll drop another charge. And I'll do, just like everything else, I'll kind of double check things because things can move around on you. This one's good. And we'll check 3 of these. And as I go ahead and load each round, I'll load a few of them and check each weight, and then I will go ahead and I'll load about 10 of them, and I'll go ahead and I'll check my charge weights just to see if it shifted. And it could shift a little bit. That one's good too. So I'd say our charge is set up now. Let's put that back. CD player is not working very good these days. Actually, that's a good spot for that right there. So our next step is to get our bullet seating die ready. So we'll go ahead and we'll charge a case. You'll see we just put a case underneath here, and that little plastic green thing on there, you can actually see the powder fall through there. And I will look in the case to verify that the powder's in there. Actually, I think you can see that. Yeah, you can see that the powder's in there. This is important. Make note that you pay attention to the powder going in here. This 38 special cases are big enough, and there's not enough powder in there that this case could easily be double charged. So just keep in mind of that. You do not want to double charge a 38 special case and put it into a small revolver. If you did that and put it into a 357 mag revolver, you would be okay. But if you put it in a J-frame or a Charter Arms or a Taurus 38 special, that could probably be dangerous because you would have a double charge and you'd probably be easily getting a 357 Magnum velocities. So something very important to keep an eye out for. So our next thing, we have two bullet seating dies right here. One is flat and then the other one is dish. So we'll see which one our projectile seats in better. The flat one obviously, actually that feels perfect right there. Wow. Actually it feels good in both of those. Actually it feels better in the round one. So we'll go ahead, if you can see that, you can see the front of that bullet. It's a little, a little flat, but it's definitely rounded. It fits perfect in there. So we will go ahead and we will, first of all, we're going to lower our die onto our charge case. And this will also crimp it. So eventually we're going to feel it touch the case, and then we're going to, yep, there, just touch it. We'll bring it up a little bit. We'll lock it down so we don't crimp the case. And then we're going to put our bullet seating die in it. We'll lower it down. Seat our bullet. I can already feel it. Yeah, it started going in. That went nice and easy. See if you can see this. All right, on this projectile right here, we have a lot more seating to do, but as you can see it, you can see our wax, that's our lubricant, and you can see that crimp groove right there. And so we are going to seat the bullet right to that groove. So we'll put it back in our press, lower it a good deal more. It's getting close. Yeah, we're almost there, a little more. Yeah, that's it. So you can see, there we go. And I would say that's pretty good. We'll just wipe that off a little bit. Yeah, that's right in the, right above, yeah, that's right in the groove. And we'll look at another projectile to kind of see what it's looking at, what we're looking at. Actually, I'll bring it back up a little bit. But that's a round right there. So basically, that's almost a finished round. It just needs to be crimped now. And we're in good shape. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab another one. We're going to charge it. Verify our charge is in there. Seat the bullet. Let's bring the whole box of projectiles over here. And then we'll verify it with another projectile. Yeah, that looks perfect. Alright, I'm happy with that. Hopefully you folks can see that on the camera. But that looks good. So that is a round right there. So we'll go ahead and next thing we're going to lock it. So the die is locked in the press. and then we will lock our seeder in the die. So did we charge it? No. So we'll go ahead, we'll charge our case, verify we have a charge in there. We do. Seat our bullet. Press it in. Yeah, those are going. Yeah, I did a really nice job on these lead projectiles. You can see I don't have any lead scraped up, or very minimal here, just the tiniest little bit. So these are nice. These are nice rounds. These will be quite nice. I'm getting good at loading these lead projectiles. Give it a charge. And verify it's in there. Cedar lead projectile. Yep, looks, yeah, these are beautiful. These are coming out great. So we'll go ahead and we'll do one other thing, and we will double check our powder weight after we've just loaded a few rounds. We'll keep on going. Yeah, another good one. Yep. Yeah, these are loading quite nicely. So let's verify our powder. Yeah, we're right. We're right on 4.7 grains right here, so we look good. So we'll load a few more and then we'll double check it again. But we're looking pretty healthy right here. Let's verify there's powder. There's powder in there. Another thing is you want to make sure there's powder in your case, because if you don't put powder in a case and you load a projectile and then you go to fire the projectile, you will do what's called a squib round. And a squib round is not good. It basically means the primer has enough power to launch the projectile out of the case and get it stuck in the barrel. And the reason I know about that is because I've done that to myself. I did that a few years ago in my SIG P226 with 9mm, and I was shooting with a bunch of friends. We were having a great time. Luckily I had a second handgun, but that handgun was taken out of commission because I had to bring it back, strip the thing, and go ahead and remove that squib round with I forget how I did it, but I had to jam something in the barrel, and I was surprised how stuck it was, that 9mm round was, and it was not fun to get out. And I was afraid of damaging my barrel, but I did not. But yeah, these are loading quite nicely. Yeah. So we're looking pretty good here. And nice thing about this is we're really saving a lot of money. I want to say 38 specials, about $18, $20 a box, depending on where you buy it. But we're saving a lot of money here. We're leaving a little ring with that cedar, but it's not a big deal. I'm not super worried about these 38 specials. So you can see I'm verifying each one is charged. And doing it with a single stage press right here, it's good at making sure they're not double charged, because these 38 specials are definitely, you could easily double charge these things, and that would be a very dangerous situation, because pressure, once you start adding powder, pressure goes up exponentially in cartridges. I've kind of experimented with 308s, and just with a little bit more powder you get a lot more pressure, and that would be scary to double charge a 38 special case. But most modern cases are difficult to overcharge, but these older ones definitely you can overcharge. But yeah, these are coming out quite nicely. So we'll go ahead and we'll finish up these. As you can see, we're making some good tracks here, making our rounds. It's January out here. My fingers actually are getting quite cold handling all these metallic things and starting to get numb a little bit, but it's all good. Alright folks, and for our last step here, as you can see, we have all of our 100 rounds there loaded up, and we need to crimp our rounds. And, you know, that makes sure the projectile does not come loose. So we'll go ahead and we're going to put it in there. And we have already removed our bullet seating piece of this die. It's done screws. And this same die also serves as a crimper. So we'll go ahead, we'll extend it all the way up. We're going to drop the die down onto the round. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to give this about, let's say, 2/3 of a turn. We don't need to really, that might be a little too much too. Yeah, it's plenty of crimp. Since these are just 38 specials and we're just going to shoot them out of a big heavy revolver, I'm not too worried about, there we go, that felt better, putting a monster crimp on the, there we go. So as you can see, it's just kind of mushroomed over a little bit. I'll give it a touch more. And we don't need super crimps on these rounds because we're not worried about these jumping the crimp. And jumping the crimp means in a big revolver that's heavy recoiling, when it goes off, the other rounds in the other, you know, chambers of the cylinder, it goes back under recoil, and the bullet's heavy enough where it will, you know, it won't accelerate as quickly as the brass will, and it will actually come out of the brass case, and that will jam up your cylinder and cause all sorts of problems, and that is not good. So you do not want that happening. So with hard, heavy 44 mags and 357s, I will make sure I have a good crimp. But for these 38 specials, and we're going to shoot these out of a big heavy revolver, my 686, I'm not super worried about these rounds jumping the crimp. So you can see with the light, hopefully you can see that. You can see I'm basically just, as the case goes up straight, I'm just rounding it over a little bit. And if I were to put a heavier crimp on there, it would round it over and then even come up a little bit again. So it would definitely, but we're happy with those crimps right there, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to lock down this die. And this is my favorite step, because once you crimping rounds, your rounds are finished. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, that's perfect. Just a little crimp. And this goes very quickly once it's set up. Oh, a little powder came out of there. Oh, wow. Oh, wow, look at that. That was a mess. Oops, a lot of powder on the ground. So you can see that. That's just fine. Yep. Yeah, we're good there. I'm really happy with what that looks like. Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah. So as you can see, you know, we're going through, and when we reload these, I always make sure I inspect everything. I don't inspect every round once I know they're good. And this brass was only once fired, so I know this brass is in good shape. But yeah, but these have come out quite nicely, and I'm definitely, I would say I'm pretty proficient at loading lead rounds now. It almost felt 38 Special Plus B. I could see, I felt the difference there. I could feel that's a stronger piece of brass. It's nickel plated, and you could see plus P, so maybe that piece is just a touch different. But for these, I'm not super concerned. But as you can see, it goes quickly. So we'll go ahead and we'll finish these up. So folks, there you have it. We just finished up crimping all of our rounds. There you go. That is our completed round. And you saw how we started out with our empty brass cases, and we deprimed them, resized them. Then we expanded the case mouth. Then we primed them. And then we charged them with powder. And then we seated our projectiles, and then we crimped them. The only step I left out of this process that you don't even have to do, but I did it, and it was tumbling them. And I have a tumbler over there. You can see my other videos that I just put the brass in there with some almond media, and I ran it for about an hour and a half today. Put a little rubbing compound in there that's got more grit to shine up the brass a little bit more. And there you have it, and that is 100 rounds of 38 special. And the other thing I'd like to point out too, label your containers when you make your rounds, because I've loaded for years now, and I have a book that I write down what I load and my dates when I load it and how it performs. You'll forget what this is, and I have enough firearms and enough hand loads that I don't always remember what I've loaded and what I'm using. As you can see here, the 44 specials I loaded last time. They're 44 specials, 200 grain bullets. I can see that they're lead, and there's 9.5 grains of blue dot in them. And these are 38 special, 158 grain, 4.7 grains of unique. And so that is also very important. And use your reloading manuals, that's good too. But you know, I saved myself a lot of money here. Say this is $21 a box of 50. I got 100 rounds right here, so it's a little over 40 bucks. And nice thing about loading for revolvers is, you know, you get to tailor your rounds. And I knew I didn't want the lightest round, you know, something coming out at 750 feet per second out of a heavy revolver. If I was loading for a little J-frame or my Charter Arms, I would have loaded like that. But most of my shooting for 357 and 38s is out of my 686, and that's a big revolver. So, you know, we loaded these at max, but just max for 38 special, which is still going to be very mild out of that gun. These are not plus Ps, and so these would be safe to shoot out of other revolvers. And they should be quite accurate too. I was really happy the way these loaded in there. Another thing I'd like to mention too, if you load 38 special with jacketed rounds, you don't have to expand the case mouth as much. With lead, expand it a little bit more. But folks, if you have any questions about reloading 38 specials or any other rounds, feel free, post them below. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Also, I'm thinking about picking up a 10mm in the future. I've liked 10mm for years. As you see, I have a video of my friend Dave's Glock 29. What I'm really looking at is 1911 style handgun with like the Kimber Camp Guard, something with the rounded off, you know, edges that I can carry, that's comfortable to carry. Unlike my Springfield 1911, that's a wonderful pistol, but with the 90-degree edges, it's tough to carry. It's just chews into my side a lot. So I'm looking at, there's a Ruger out there. I think it's a Ruger Talo. That one I'll probably be a little harsher, but that Kimber Camp Guard, I really have my eyes on. And then I'll definitely make some 10mm hand load videos, and we'll make some hot ones. But that I've got my eyes on. But if you have any other recommendations of any other good 10mm, I've also looked at the Dan Wessons too. You know, definitely put them down below, and I'll get back to you. But folks, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up.